Hi, my name is Robert. My colleagues are Matthijs and Niels, and we're going to talk about network structures among suppliers. Our central question is, what is the role of the network structure for creating cooperation in terms of knowledge sharing and competition among suppliers? Our presentation is built on 5 parts. In the first part, we explain the definitions within the research question. The second part is developing ties within the network structure. The third part is about the dilemmas in building a network structure. Fourth part are the influences the hub has within the network structure. And the fifth and final part is about the conclusion. So, first part, definitions. Where with these definitions we're going to clarify the main question. So, first definition is network structure. The network structure facilitates the sharing of financial resources and valuable knowledge. Within this network structure, in this case Toyota is linked to its suppliers, and Toyota is initiating the sharing of knowledge with this network structure. Second one are 2 definitions, cooperation and competition. Cooperation is the knowledge transfer among members in the network, so they cooperate in developing their own products but help others in developing theirs. The second one is competition. This is focused around the customer. They want to win the race in the best product, and there's no cooperation in between suppliers. And if we combine those two, we get competition. Competition is the tension between cooperation and competition. In an ideal network, we have more cooperation than competition, and that's where the network is about. Lastly, we have suppliers. So there are 2 types of suppliers. We have horizontal suppliers. Those are, for example, the suppliers of Toyota. They are called supplier-supplier relations. They work together within this network, and there are also vertical suppliers. Those are the suppliers from Toyota and the sub-suppliers. Those sub-suppliers are called third-tier suppliers.
This chapter will focus on the development among ties among suppliers in different phases. We've taken the example from Dyer and Nowaka from 2000, the Toyota case. We will illustrate the different phases with conceptual models we built ourselves. And in each phase we will look at the competition and cooperation among suppliers. So in the first phase you see that the buyer has weak ties among supplier A and supplier B. This means that there's no cooperation at all, the intensity of interactions are low, and information sharing does not even exist. For competition, this means that the suppliers see each other as a threat, so they're uncomfortable to share knowledge with each other. But the buyer tries to get them talk with each other in a non-threatening setting. In the second phase, the buyer tries to develop stronger ties with the different suppliers. So they offer free consultants for the supplier, but in exchange the suppliers need to open up their business to the buyer. So they give away their knowledge, so other suppliers could use it as well. This means that the competition will decrease in this phase. And in the third phase we will see that the network is entirely established, so they will share tasted knowledge among each other, the suppliers, and they will work as one entire network. So the structural holes are disappearing. And this also means, if you compare it to Model 2, that in Model 2 the suppliers were visiting each other maybe like 7 times a year, and now you see that's approximately 34 times. So it's a really increase in cooperating with each other. You see now the organizational structure of the buyer. So you see the network where we saw in the Model 3, but now we see also supplier C and supplier D, who has no ties at all with this structure, with this network. So, but we're focusing especially on the network. So supplier A, supplier B with the buyer. So we will leave them out because this is our scope of the research question. So you see it in this picture. We will leave supplier C and supplier D, leave them out to get our scope of our research question.
So, the dilemmas chapter. In every build-up of a network structure, there are a couple of dilemmas you have to conquer to end up with a successful working network structure. At this stage of the network evolution, the suppliers' motivations for participating in these network activities are recognized needs for rapid knowledge acquisition and reciprocity. Suppliers have experienced the benefits of sharing in the previous projects. Suppliers are also appreciated with the importance of participating in these projects. They rapidly learn and make continuous improvements. Suppliers are kept on their toes by knowing that the rent-creating potential of their past productivity improvements are declining fast. Furthermore, they are in a learning race with the other suppliers and produce similar parts. So they have, at the end of each project, they have to compete with the suppliers to gain access in the future team. This creates a strong incentive for suppliers to learn and improve quickly as possible. So, fundamental knowledge sharing dilemmas. There are three. The first one is motivating participants. The second one is free riders. Those are participants who don't contribute. And the last one is cost of efficiency. How to conquer those? How to solve this? Now, the first one is to heavily subsidize involvement of Toyota. They provide, for example, they provide consultants and they provide resources and their knowledge to the suppliers without suppliers providing them anything in the first stages. In the hope suppliers will be involved more and be motivated more to participate. The second solution is to get a group identity. They all share the same norms and values. They all are on the same page of doing business. So this motivates participants. The second one is free riders. How to solve this is rules and norms. Within this identity there are rules and norms, and these rules and norms make that being a free rider is not accepted and people hesitate to be this free riding position. And the second one is an economic sanction. A sanction you can see as a fine, for example. Last one is solved by a strong tie network, which is actually the network itself, and they share their knowledge in a way which has less bureaucratic costs, for example.
Alright, now we are at chapter 4, and now we're going to talk about the influences of the hub within the network structure. Alright, there are three influences the hub has in the network structure, and they are supplier association, supplier consultancy, and supplier learning group. The first one is supplier association, and herewith the buyer creates a social cohesion among an inner group of suppliers within the network, and herewith the suppliers share the same identity. Additionally, this supplier association will help to overcome the anonymity of market competition by serving as a place where rivals meet and also learn about each other. Well, the second one is supplier consultancy. Well, herewith consultants of the hub help via long-term assistancy to strengthen the supplier manufacturing processes, while the hub sends consultants, what Matthijs already said, to their supplier, and they will automatically gain deep insights in their production process and also can help them. The third one is supplier learning groups, and this means that it consists of specialists of the suppliers where they consult each other on specific and mostly production related issues. Alright, now let's have a look at the network level of knowledge sharing process. In order to efficiently transfer knowledge among a large group of individual firms, Dyer and Nobioka have established various knowledge sharing processes for bilateral and also multilateral structures. The hub has a facilitating role in the relationship between suppliers in a multilateral structure, as we can see on the left hand side of the screen. In a bilateral structure, the hub facilitates the supplier by, for example, improving the production processes with inter-firm employees transfer. However, every member in a network can develop its embedded ties with other members that have relevant knowledge. So to conclude, a wide variety of processes are possible for members in order to receive or transfer different types of knowledge. Well, according to the article of Wilhelm, the focus is on the relationship between the supplier, and this is also focusing in the central question that we are answering in this presentation, and therefore the focus is on a multilateral structure. Alright, now let's move on to the conclusion. First of all, let's come back to the central question. What is the role of the network structure for creating cooperation and competition among suppliers? The answer to this question is separated into three phases of cooperation as well as competition. In the beginning of the processes of developing a network structure, the cooperation is low and the competition is high because the suppliers see each other as a threat. In this phase, the buyer tries to let the members of the network structure communicate with each other in order to make those suppliers feel not threatened anymore. In the second model, the cooperation increases between suppliers because of the influence of the buyer by offering consultants. Additionally, the level of competition decreases because suppliers have to open up their facility. In the final phase, the suppliers cooperate with each other and share knowledge, and the level of competition is on a low level. In the evolutionary phase, the suppliers are heavily competing to get into the new team, which is called the learning race, and this learning race hampers the cooperation on this phase. Alright, this was our presentation. We hope that you learned something of it, and thank you very much for attending.